To choose or not to choose? That is the question. What's up, guys? I'm Monster here, and here we're going to do a breakdown / discussion on whether or not Yuji Itadori should have even offered the choice to Ryomen Sukuna in the first place. The choice to live on independently for about 5 more seconds and ultimately fall to Yuji Itadori's hands, or to return to him, to spare and leave Fushiguro and reunite with him, especially after Sukuna denied the initial offer all the way back in 265. Let's not waste any more time, and let's hop right into it. Editing me, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? The guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do going to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Any other fun fact, this is something that has had at least some of the people I speak to a little bit discombobulated, a little bit annoyed, a little bit confused on the nature of Yuji Itadori and his character in regards to the choice he offers Sukuna in 268 and his treatment of Sukuna afterwards. And even the whole "you are me" statement of himself. But I do want to very specifically focus on the idea of choice and the offer that Yuji Itadori makes. Because ultimately, Sukuna denied Yuji Itadori abjectly and undeniably at the end of 265. He was like, "I'm going to slaughter everybody you know and love and make you watch." So, like, clearly, Sukuna sat down. And with that being the case, I mean, he was given the option. Free Fushiguro, and I'll spare you if you return to me. Or else, you get got. So, Yuji asking Sukuna whether or not, hey, you want to get got or not? Or do you want to come back to me? In 268, not just seems redundant, but seems strange, considering it's kind of like Yuji Itadori not sticking to his word, is it not? Like, you said you were going to get rid of him if he said no, and he said no with his fist, which is the most clear and violent way to say no. But it really comes down to a question of how one of us would handle the scenario. Put in Yuji Itadori's shoes, very specifically in that moment, because I cannot fight at all, especially nowhere near the level of Yuji Itadori, would I have offered Ryomen Sukuna the choice? And it really comes down to a matter of perspective. Personally, I would not have offered Ryomen Sukuna the choice. If you put me in Yuji's shoes, at that moment in time, even with all that he's gone through, Ryomen Sukuna is not worthy of the choice. He simply isn't, at least not in my mind. And very specifically, he's not going to get the choice of freedom in the afterlife or being stuck with me. He's stuck with me. And you may be wondering, Pencil Man, what's wrong with you? What are you talking about? Ultimately, Sukuna is a character who has gone long without choice, or the need to consider choices offered to him. Because he was the strongest of his era, and he was the strongest of all time, he got to choose everything. As he admits to Kashimo, if I eat, I will eat. If I eat, I will eat, naturally. If I want to eat, I will eat. If I want to fight, I will fight. If I want to slaughter, I will slaughter. It is my choice. The freedom that comes with power is the freedom to choose. And ultimately, Ryomen Sukuna's had that freedom unchallenged for literal millennia. Okay, admittedly not that long. We know he didn't live that long, and he was inanimate fingers for a while. But still, his entire existence has been one of free choice, free action, free liberty. And if I'm Yuji Itadori in that scenario, I know what Ryomen Sukuna would not want. As he says himself, "You are me." And ultimately, Yuji Itadori understands what the worst choice for Sukuna is, just like you and I both understand what the worst choice for Sukuna is. Sure, does ceasing existence, especially with no guarantee you'll come back, sound awful? Absolutely. But you know what sounds worse? Being stuck, prisoner, in the body of the person you despise the most for the rest of their days. Watching as they fight for their ideology and their cause after beating you and proving you wrong for the rest of their days. Because your days are now inextricably tied to their days, and there's nothing you can do about that. there is no scenario where he would need a binding vow to enchain again. There is no way to transfer out. No, ultimately, if Yuji Itadori simply consumed Sukuna in this moment, did not let him fade away, re-merged with him forcefully, whether it be through immediate consumption or some other means and metric through his ability to control the barrier between souls, Sukuna would be stuck. And in my opinion, Sukuna kind of got off scot-free. At least in terms of this. Of course, it'd be like, Pencil Man, Sukuna got, executed, right? Like, he's not coming back. Yes, but that's scot-free. He got to eat everything he wanted, and then he left of his own free will. And personally, you can call me vindictive, you can call me wrong, you can call me a little bit twisted. I would not want that if I was Yuji Itadori. Honestly, if I was anyone there and I had the same potential as Yuji Itadori, if I could walk up in the manga and just grab Sukuna from Yuji's hands, and then I could actually contain him permanently and not have to worry about anything, I'd do it. Because Ryomen Sukuna is a being that deserves punishment. And in the end, as we've seen for other characters, if anything, in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, death is either not the end or liberation. Satoru Gojo was liberated by his death. We've never seen the man happier than we saw him in 236 as he waved off and admitted he fell without regrets. Kashimo Hajime is a character we've seen smile before. We've seen him be happy before. We've seen him enjoy things before. But it seemed he was most at peace when he had his battle, got what he wanted, what he waited 400 years for, and got a lesson from Sukuna. He seemed happy. Nanami, Kento, in the end, seemed happy. The only characters who failed to be happy were like, curses. But it'd be like that when it'd be like that. Especially when it'd be like that. So, ultimately, sure, Ryomen Sukuna perished in the palms of the person he despised the most, but I don't think it was enough. Him having to watch Yuji Itadori live a happy life, watch Yuji Itadori connect with people he cares for, watch Yuji Itadori use his power, his freedom of choice to save every last human life that he sees value in, while Ryomen Sukuna, who sees no value in any human life other than his own, unless that value is to simply entertain him or feed him. Absolutely, that would have been the most vindictive and beautiful and glorious punishment that Yuji Itadori and Yuji Itadori alone could have administered to him. Those are my thoughts. That's what I would do. But there's a reason I'm not Yuji Itadori. There's a reason where if that wasn't on the table, and Yuji Itadori had no way to refuse with them, but had a way to save Sukuna otherwise, that if I had the choice to save Sukuna, or take that other path to, maybe end him, I would get my Tims out and start curb stomping on the Blob King. Absolutely. The retribution would be swift for the moment. It'd take a while. I don't know how long I have to stomp him out. But with that being the case, I'm not Yuji Itadori. I did not have the same revelation as Yuji Itadori. And while I'm going to make a separate video talking about whether or not Yuji Itadori reached enlightenment, spoiler alert, probably not. But whether I make that video, or when I make that video, I'll talk about that more in depth. But ultimately, we got to remember what Yuji's whole character journey was about up to this point. It was about understanding the value of humanity. And understanding that he doesn't really have an understanding of the ways of the world. And thusly, he believes that everybody innately should at least be offered that choice. I made a video a while back talking about whether or not Yuji Itadori had actually freed himself from the cog mentality. And towards the end of that video, I came to the idea of that, yes and no. Because before, he believed he was a cog, regardless of his own wishes, but now Yuji Itadori decides to be a cog of his own free will. He decides to perpetuate the system in order to keep it maintained at his own discretion, rather than some sort of forced obligation placed upon him by those above him in rank or status. And that is a choice. And that's what Yuji highlights the most. The freedom and importance of choice. And how those choices are afforded to those who have value. And of course, human lives have value in the eyes of Yuji Itadori. And at the end of the day, No matter how monstrous, how big, how beefy, how strong, how dangerous, how diabolical and devious Ryomen Sukuna, the king of curses, is. And no matter what he dare declare at the end of 268, it does not matter. What John Weary says, it does not matter. Because Ryomen Sukuna is not a curse, he's a man. He's a human being. And Yuji values human beings. Not to the point where he would let any human life override countless others. That's why he goes out of his way to stop Sukuna in the first place, once again playing into the cog mentality of his own free will. But at the same time, since Ryomen Sukuna meets that qualification, since he is someone who could be communicated with, understood, and actually can process the value of humanity as he revealed in 265, since Yuji knows all of that, he offered Sukuna the choice. Because he's afforded that right. Of course, Sukuna's always had the right, and I think Yuji knows that. Obviously he does. He's been the victim of Ryomen Sukuna's countless, and I mean countless, choices. But just because he's been the victim of such, in Yuji Itadori's mind, at the end of his 265 long character journey, he finds himself unable to be the one to take away that choice, to limit the choice of others, to limit the freedom of others, even if that person, that being, is the most diabolical creature we've seen. I'm kidding, Sukuna's not Kenjaku, but the second most diabolical creature we've seen. Ryomen Sukuna is human, and thusly he should be offered the choice. Now, to some degree, I think Yuji knew what was going to happen. I think he understood that no matter what, Sukuna was not going to take his offer. Obviously, there's 265 into 266 and the violence that ensues there, but just based on how Yuji offers this idea, this thesis, and this entire scenario, I think he looks down on Sukuna knowing that he's a little bit too arrogant to accept his punishment and would be just the guy to run away. And he knows he's unique for that. As he says, even if no one else accepts it, I'm willing to go on living with you. He's offering Sukuna that hand because Sukuna's human, and that's the big difference. So, of course, I don't think he should have offered the choice. I think Sukuna should have lived out every day, and Yuji should have lived at 250 and been stomping out Mahito's 5th incarnation for all I care, using Sukuna's own power. Benevolent Shrine, an inverted version of Malevolent Shrine. Absolutely. But Yuji wouldn't believe that. He simply wouldn't. He'll go on his own. He'll most likely never stop being a Jujutsu sorcerer until he's literally physically enabled, because he cares that much about the value of human life. But ultimately, it is that value that affords Yuji the choice, and I think the choice being offered is required for Yuji's character arc to make sense. Because I talked to somebody about this idea, and they said, yeah, that's a cool story, bro. Yuji shouldn't have offered the choice anyway, and it would have contradicted his character growth, but that's where I disagree. I think if he didn't give Sukuna the choice, if he forced Sukuna to remerge with him, or simply stomped him out with his, not Tim's, not his J's, then I think a bit of Yuji's development, a bit of Yuji's story, honestly, the conclusion of Yuji's story, the value of humanity, and the fact that those are not described or limited or defined by their deaths would have been lost if Yuji simply wild out on Ryomen Sukuna. The choice being offered, especially basically a futile choice, it completes Yuji. It wraps his story around full circle. To where in the beginning, he did not have the choice of whether or not he wanted to or had to consume Sukuna. To the end, where he offers Sukuna the choice to be consumed or to be free. And actually, Ryomen Sukuna chooses to be free. Because there'd be no greater punishment than being left with the boy chosen by the Black Sparks. Yuji Itadori. He who is him. But of course, that's what I think. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys agree with me and think that ultimately Yuji kind of had to offer the choice even if you would have done something different? Or do you think, no, you didn't have to offer the choice and wouldn't have broken his character, and here's why? Please let me know all that and more in the comment section down below. And thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure the notification bell, well, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I know to have a Patreon below, where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as a member to the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to the very next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, ad view variations of all my videos, and if you become a $25 patron or a $25 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also, there's a link to my Ko-Fi in the description down below, where you can drop 5 beans for a short video, 29 beans for a long video, or any beans at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dagger with a Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members: Sarah, Greyhound, Eternal Flame, NMA, Real Rare, Red Wolf 4765, Paris Arnold, Astro, Brandon Payne, and G Prosper. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $5 patrons: Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Encarnacion, Josh Brown, Igneal Lind, and A+A. And I'd like to give a big ol' thank you to our $7 members: Autumn Mornings Lazo, Fine, Zombie Hunter, and Austin Wimberly. Then I'd like to give a thank you to our $10 members: Robbie Uchiha, Jay Warrior, and AZ Void. Then I'd like to give a big ol' thank you to our $10 patrons: Overlord Zero, Joaquin Munoz, and Idem Okami.
And I'd like to give the craziest, juiciest, most next-level, quadruple, sloppy, toppy, next-level superhuman in beyond this world kidney having thank you to our $100 patron, or that guy with a pencil tier patron, Calvin Elder.